All right, Nick, let's talk about the USC Trojans fresh off tight but successful victory. They did a lot of great things here, and I think that shows in the recruiting game as well. Southern Cal, USC Trojans have made another really smart, interesting move here. We're going to cover that in just a minute, but first, I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I said, the Southern Cal Trojans making a really big move here. One that people maybe at first, when you hear what they're doing and how they're going to turn, maybe you be a little bit nervous, but I think overall this is a really smart play by the Trojans. Let's get into the article and we can talk more about it on the other side. Of course, we're talking about the quarterback flip and then reattainment of another quarterback. It says USC Trojans have flipped five-star quarterback Hassan Longstreet from the Texas A&M Aggies recruiting class after the elite prospect visited USC for its game against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. What made USC right for me is what Coach Riley has done in the past, Longstreet told On3. He has 5 quarterbacks starting in the NFL right now and 4 that won the Heisman. It's hard to turn down something special like that. With much speculation about Trojans 2025 quarterback commit Julian Lewis flipping his commitment potentially to the Colorado Buffs, the Trojans shifted their focus towards Longstreet. On Sunday morning, the Texas A&M commit announced his decision to flip committing to the Trojans. I think this is a fantastic move by Southern Cal because I think Longstreet said it best. This is a team, this is a offensive coach that has 5 quarterbacks in the NFL right now. He's got 4 Heisman winners. You can get anybody to come play quarterback at USC and have a successful career. Why are you going to battle over a guy like Julian Lewis? I think this was the right move just to go out and get another elite passer of the football. Curious what your thoughts are on this one, Nick. But before we get to you, Trojans fans, in the comment section below, what do you think? Do you think this was the right move? Do you think they should have battled to try to keep Julian Lewis on the roster? Or do you think Hassan Longstreet is going to be just as good in this Lincoln Riley system? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. But nonetheless, Nick, what do you think about this latest move for USC?
So a lot of things to really like here about this. And look, there's nothing against Julian Lewis. Obviously, he's an exciting prospect. Wish him the best wherever he plays college football. Hope he has a great career. But the reality is, if you're Lincoln Riley, if you're the USC Trojans program, if you're any program in the college football world right now, you want to avoid prospects where the temptation is that more NIL money, more transfer portal, attention, more just the threat of always leaving after one season of playing poorly or not getting a lot of playing time lurking behind the scenes. You want to avoid that at all costs because that can destroy programs. We see a lot of programs basically year in and year out. They look really good. They have a bad transfer portal run, and then they're just terrible and they can't recover. If you're a program like USC trying to figure things out in the new Big Ten, and let's be honest, has not been a good year at all. Good to get the win against Nebraska, but the reality is this is not where the USC Trojans need to be, and it's not where they're going to be. They just need to figure out the next great quarterback to pair with Lincoln Riley. And Lewis, I think, has all the tool sets, but the reality is the temptation of the NIL, the temptation of the social media, of getting all this buzz to potentially pull him away from wherever program he goes. That's not what you want. You want stability. You want a guy you can trust. You want a guy you can work with if you're Lincoln Riley. That's what he had in Caleb Williams, right? Whether it was at Oklahoma, then took him, obviously, to USC. You need to have that relationship work, especially in an offensive guru mindset, which Riley obviously does. Longstreet's a phenomenal prospect. I believe he's a top 30 guy in the country, 5-star. So he's a phenomenal recruit. I think the talent differential between him and Lewis is essentially 0, right? You're just talking personal opinion at a certain point. But I love the fact that the USC Trojans, the moment Lewis decommitted and was like, well, let me look at my options. Like, let me open up. Let me see who's going to give me the most NIL money or whatever the attention may be. They're like, no, let's focus on a guy that wants to come here and play football, that wants to go to the National Football League, that wants to work with a guy who knows how to coach quarterbacks to get into the National Football League. And finding the right prospects like that is just as important as finding the most talented guys. Look at the Texas A&M Aggies under Jimbo Fisher. For so many years, they went after and they paid a lot of money for these big-time 5-star, 4-star athletes across the board, but none of them wanted to come to Texas A&M and play football and build themselves into a championship caliber team. They were just going there for the money, NIL money or otherwise, right? USC Trojans, Lincoln Riley, they're taking a different approach specifically with this quarterback position here. They're saying, we like Lewis. He wants to decommit, do his own thing. Do your thing. God bless you. Have a great career. But we're going to go after a guy who wants to be here, to play football and work with Lincoln Riley. It sounds kind of dumb and crazy because this is the way college football has been for 60, 70, 120 years, however long since they played the first college football game. I think Princeton, Rutgers, 1860s, whenever the heck it was, where it was all about getting coaches and players to work together. It was like that for so long. NIL world has kind of thrown that on its head. But Lincoln Riley, his staff, USC, they recognize they need to avoid that where they can and get a guy who wants to come to LA to play football and work with Lincoln Riley. Great move by the Trojans, and I think a great sign for their future.
Yeah, Nick, and this Julian Lewis situation reminds me of a cautionary tale that we saw not too long ago. That player's name is Jaden Rashada, the recruit who went to Florida, is promised like 13 something million insane amount of dollars. That obviously fell through. What does he do? He leaves Florida, gets out of Dodge, he goes to Arizona State. He's there for, I don't know, just a little bit of time, leaves there. Now he's at Georgia. He's bouncing all around. He's a mercenary for hire. Whoever the highest bidder is, he's not really performing that well either right now. It's just a lot going on with that situation. And if you have a guy like Julian Lewis on the roster where you're Southern Cal, you can produce really great quarterbacks. Someone should feel honored to come be the next Mayava, be the next Caleb Williams, be the next guy at Southern Cal, be the next Lincoln Riley prospect. And they're not doing that. They're trying to say, well, maybe I go off to the highest bidder. Maybe I go to Colorado. Maybe I go somewhere else. That isn't who you want on your roster. You want someone who's going to be more loyal, someone who's going to be more appreciative to be on this roster. So I think this is the right move because if you keep Julian Lewis, it sounds like another tale similar to Jaden Rashada, where the minute things don't go right, you're off to the next destination, like you said. So I think this was a great move by Southern Cal. Lincoln Riley, he can really whisper to any quarterback on the planet. We're seeing it now, as in first game in. Mayava's doing a great job. So I think this is a really great move for Southern Cal, and I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
And just to end on something here, it's not like Longstreet or anybody else isn't going to get NIL money at USC, right? They are certainly going to get their advertising opportunities like they're going to get at any major program. Certainly USC has the massive footprint it does. It's finding guys that are there for football first, especially these young guys. Obviously, Lewis is a great talent, but I love Lincoln Riley and this Trojans program adapted quickly, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. I think this was a great decision, and I know 2024 hasn't been great, but I think going forward, this program is going to turn itself around and be a contender once again.